Hello. Can't wait to get these guys in, these sweet potatoes. But here in the north of England, north of the UK, it's still too cold, it's still too wet. Molly and I have just been for a walk to Ennerdale. I've took a couple of clips. I'll stick them on the back end of this video. I think you'll be able to tell from the wind how cold it is. But I've come home and I'm looking at sweet potatoes today. This seems to be the sort of standard way of chitting sweet potatoes. Pop them in an egg box, and then there's two ways you can go from that. You can keep them in the dark or you can keep them in the light. You may want to keep them in a cool environment, you may want to keep them in a warmer environment. These have been on the windowsill for a few weeks now, and as you can see, we've got some small chits. Okay, it's debatable whether you actually need to chit potatoes, that if we just put them in without chitting them, they would grow. But what I like about chitting them, and this is the reason I do it, is that it gives me confidence that there is some life in this potato. It's started to grow. That tells me it's a viable set, and hopefully when I plant it, it will produce a potato plant. If I put these in with no chits on, I'd be taking a gamble, I think. So that's why I chit potatoes, and I chit mine in the light where it's reasonably warm on a windowsill. But there is another way of doing this, and I've used this in the past, and I've used it to try and steal a couple of weeks on the growing season, really, to try and make it a bit quicker. I've actually chitted seed potatoes in compost, in the dark but in the warm. That causes them to throw chits, but they also throw a few roots down, so that when you plant them, they've actually got a reasonable root system going on there. I'm going to show you that now. So there's a Charlotte, 4 Charlotte seed potatoes. The 4 I'm going to show you now were bought at the same time and sat in compost. Okay, so this is just a plastic bag with some compost in it, and the seed potatoes are in here. Now, I'll need to be gentle as I empty these guys out, because whatever's on them, I don't want to break. I think I'm still probably 2 or 3 weeks away from sowing these guys, so they are going to go back into this bag. I'm just taking them out to show you what we get. Okay, if you want to chit them this way. Can you hear Molly barking? There's some geese flying over. Can you hear the geese? Probably not. Hey, what do you think? Rasta potato. Rasta potato, what do you think? Right. Hi, Moll. Can you hear them geese? Wait, I'll let Moll in. See if she'll come in. Hey, come in here, sweetheart. Yeah, those geese, didn't you? Right, where we at? Yeah, Rasta potato. Now, what about this? There's the chit. Where's the roots? Well, they aren't on the bottom of the potato, are they? There's no roots there. So the roots and the chit actually come from the same place, and that's on top of the seed potato. Did you know that? Well, there you go then. You've learned something if you didn't. Let's have a look at these guys. Same again, look. Nothing on the bottom. It's all starting at the top. There's the chit. Look at all these roots. Did I say there was 4 in here? I did, didn't I? Oh, here we go. More Rasta potato. Now then, there's more chits on this one. They're mainly at the top, but there's one near the bottom, and everywhere you get a chit you get some roots. So if all your chits come off the top, all your roots come off the top. We'll have a look at this last one, and then I'll pop those back in the bag. Let's have a look at this guy. Whoa, He certainly has got dreadlocks, look at that. Right, there's the chit, there's the roots. So when I plant these guys, I expect these guys will kick on a bit quicker than these guys here. Does that sound reasonable? Does it? Okay. Well, you know, there's a few weeks before these guys go in. If you want to put some in some compost, by all means. Anyway, that's what I've done. This is another way of chitting your potatoes. I'm not saying it's any better than the other. I'm not too sure it does make them grow that much quicker, but I've done it and I've shown you it. Okay. Right, don't forget, stay with the video. There's some shots of Molly on the back end and me on the back end of it in Ennerdale. And this is Homegrown Veg, signing out.